Hey, how's it going? My name is Dan. I used to work at the biggest dealership in the country, and now I teach fine folks like you how not to get fucked when buying a car. Kind of a cool gig, huh? Now in this video, I want to show you a couple of reasons why you should lease a car and 99 reasons why you shouldn't lease a car. So let's dive into it. I call leasing fleecing. For those of you that don't know what fleecing is, that's when you cut the sheep's hair and sheep has no hair, and you take that hair, sell it, make some money. And that is exactly what dealerships are doing. They're taking the best thing they can get from you, which is your money, and give you this car that's gonna be worth a lot less by the time you're done with it. All the profits that they're gonna make on this car, you are gonna cover, you are gonna pay for them in first 3 or 4 or 5, however many years you're planning to lease the car. So my personal opinion, really quickly, don't lease a car. Unless I'm gonna go a couple of things at the very end, there's 2 or 3 reasons why you should lease a car. So number one, they're gonna tell you, you should lease a car because you will get to drive a more expensive car. You don't even know. I mean, I am rolling up my sleeve, I'm so fucking angry. You don't even know how angry I get when I see somebody is telling a 20 or 25 or someone in early 30s, you should buy an expensive car because you'll look good. People will respect you. It's okay that you don't have any fucking balls. Drive an expensive car. Pretend something you're not. No, stop that. Okay, let's come down here a little bit. If you ever are thinking about leasing a car that you can't afford and you think you're going to be able to afford it because you lease it, don't buy that car. Dude, there's more important things for you to drive a wannabe fucking Mercedes or a wannabe car that you can't afford right now. It's more important for you to stack that paper. It's more important for you to grind, to hustle, and make shit happen. I'll drive an $8,000 car and build a business on the side instead of driving a fucking Mercedes for $100,000 or an Audi for 50 or some kind of fancy truck and pretend something I'm not. But that's up to you. If you got money to burn, leasing is the right way for you. Second thing dealerships are gonna tell you is you can have a car for lower monthly payment. Well, if you have a problem with the monthly payment or you're looking for a low monthly payment, shouldn't you be buying a used car? Makes sense, doesn't it? It only makes common sense. If you can't buy something new, you should probably buy it used. We have Craigslist, we have eBay, we have used car dealerships, we have a bunch of other places, we have Auto Trader, we have cars.com. I mean, the places where you can get cars is unlimited. There is so many places where you can get cars. If you're thinking about monthly payment, that means you're in a budget. If you're in a budget, you're probably don't have a money tree in your back. You probably have not won a lottery. And if you're in a budget, then it makes sense for you to put money where it's more important compared to where it's least important. And buying a cool new looking car, that's least important. More important is for you to have money in the bank. It's more important for you to have cash. It's more important to take care of your family. It's more important for you to take care of your whatever the situation you're in, whatever you gotta pay for college loans, or you got to pay for a house, or whatever you have to do. It's more important for you to have money than it is to drive a fancy car. Buy a used car. And I have few videos that are dedicated just buying used cars and why you should buy a used car. Next one, very limited on mileage. The cars are very limited on mileage. You can't drive a lot. If you're planning to drive a lot, like ever, okay? Road trips, not something you're gonna do. Uber, forget about that. Lyft, Postmates, nope. You're trying to make some money on your car, you can't do that anymore. You got a lease car that you got 10, 12,000 miles. You know how much 12,000 miles is? That's barely anything. When I was driving 18,000 miles a year. Yeah, I do driving when I drive. I have a car for a fucking reason. Let's put it to use. Next, they're gonna tell you, you don't have to pay for repairs. Well, there's a very simple solution to that. You buy a good quality car, a reliable car that you won't need to do repairs on in the first place. You buy a car that has good reputation. That's Japanese cars typically, we got Honda, we got Toyota, we got Mazda, we got Lexus, we got Acura, right? We got Infiniti, we have Hyundai, we got Kia, and we got Genesis from Hyundai. We have 9 extremely reliable brands, very reliable. And Nissan, did I mention Nissan? Why would we go and buy a brand new car when an older car, a car that's 3 or 4 or 5 years old, is going to be just as reliable as a car that's brand new? Because these are quality cars. This argument that no repairs is absolutely stupid. Of course it's not going to have no repairs. Of course I'm not going to need any repairs on a new car. Well, if I buy a quality car, I'm not going to need repairs either, but the quality car that's older, that's 3 or 4 years old, is going to be much, much cheaper. Next, you still have to pay for maintenance. I mean, that's the bottom line. You're still going to have to pay for maintenance. Some dealership will pay for maintenance like oil change. Holy shit, oil change. Now these days, you have to do oil change every 6 months. If you can't, like, that's not even a thing. That's like saying they're gonna give you an air freshener. Oil change, like $50, $100 a year. If $100 a year is an actual real sum of money that you're worried about, I think finding a job, not finding a car, is priority. But let's move on. Next, they're gonna tell you that you should be leasing a car because you'll pay less taxes. What kind of crack are they smoking, and why have they not shared it with me yet? How are we going to pay less taxes on the leased car? You're going to pay the same amount of taxes, but instead of paying taxes on a whole amount of car, you're just going to pay taxes on the monthly base. You're financing a car anyways. Like 99% of people finance cars anyways. They're doing that already. Yeah. I'm not sure how this is the biggest lie they can tell you. Less in taxes. No, you're not going to scam the government. The government knows how to take your money. They've been doing it for a couple of 100 years. They are really good at it. Next, gap insurance. Okay, some dealerships will tell you you don't have to pay gap insurance. Okay, you know how much gap insurance is? $7 a month. $7 a month on gap insurance? Well, I have a solution for that also. I'll buy a used car where I don't have to buy gap insurance. For those of you that don't know what gap insurance is, that's guaranteed asset protection. Okay, so you buy a car, brand new or lease, at $35,000. 3 months later, you get into a car accident. If you don't have gap insurance, your insurance company is looking at your car and they're like, dude, you got a 3-month-old car with a couple of miles on it, okay? We're only gonna pay you what the market price is on that car, and that is $30,000. And you're like, shit, I got $5,000, what am I gonna do with that? So this is where gap insurance comes in, okay? You get gap insurance, which covers you the difference between what you owe on a car, on a boat, on a fucking motorcycle, on jet ski, whatever, it doesn't matter, and what the actual value of whatever you bought, in this example, a car is, okay? So when you're buying a new car or leasing a car, when you're buying a new car, you have to pay gap insurance. When you lease a car, you don't have to pay gap insurance, okay? Just buy a used car. The whole point of getting a leased car is so you save some money. Well, shouldn't you be saving money for long term? You're not going to be driving a car for 3 years and then you're going to get abducted by aliens. You're still going to be driving a car for many decades ahead. You're going to be driving the car until you die. So why not buy a car that's going to last you long term, okay? You can buy a $30,000 car and make $400 a month payment, or you can buy a used car, same $30,000 car, same car, just 3 or 4 years old, for $15,000 or $16,000 or $17,000, and guess what? You can make payments that are much less. That's number one, and here's the cool thing. You're going to be able to sell that car that you own. With a leased car, you can't sell it. You make payments, you don't own it. with a car that you're owning, you can sell it even once you put 100 or 150,000 miles on it. I mean, how many cars on Craigslist do you see with 170,000 miles still selling for $3,000, $4,000, $5,000? I mean, a car is still worth money. So it's better to own the car and still be driving the car so you can sell it afterwards. Well, what about repairs? You buy a good quality car. Good quality car. You just buy a good quality car. It's pretty simple. If some of you are worried about repairs in an older car, you buy good quality car. That is the only thing I can say. I would never recommend you buy a Mercedes, an Audi, a fucking Porsche or Fiat or something like that because they're extremely unreliable. I'm telling you, go out and buy a boring car, make money. Once you're fucking rich, go out and buy whatever the fuck you want. Next, if you're military, all right, there's a lot of dealerships that will try to put you in a fucking lease if you're in military because they're telling you, you know what, you might get deployed. And you know what, you might get deployed. Would you rather have a car to come back to, or would you rather go to another fucking dealership and negotiate for another car? When you come back, do you want to have a car ready and waiting for you, or do you want to come back and go to a dealership and start looking for another fucking car? Well, what about making payments on the car while you're away? First, if you're deployed, you're making some money, okay? Number one. Number two, do you have friends or family at all? Guess what? They can drive that car. You can put them on insurance, full coverage, and they can be driving that car. You have a mom, you got a dad, you got brothers, sisters, give them that car. Let them make payments on it. Very simple. Once you come back, give me my shit back. That's it. Worst case scenario, you make payments on it. You don't like, you come back and you sell that car. That's not a big problem. Let's say that you don't want to be dealing with none of that, right? You buy a car. Let's say you buy a car, you get deployed 6 months later. How many buddies on the base would love to buy a good quality car without having to go through bullshit of negotiations, going to waste their time at the dealership? A lot, a shit ton, I don't know, everybody, because nobody likes to go to the fucking dealership. You can sell your car on base like this. All right, now here's another one. Foreign exchange students. If you're a foreign exchange student, dealerships love to scam you and tell you, hey, lease a car, you're gonna be here only for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years, and get rid of that car. Bad idea, a very bad idea, because you're gonna be paying so much for that car. It's gonna be cheaper for you to buy a car. Even if you're a student, leasing a car is a really bad idea. Let's say you lease a Honda Civic at $20,000. What are you gonna do with that Honda Civic 5, 6, 7, 8 years later once you graduate? You're gonna have a great job, $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 a year, maybe even $100,000 a year. At 80 grand a year, you're not gonna be wanting to drive a Honda Civic, but you bought a brand new Honda Civic. What are you gonna do? You have to keep it and get that money out of it, drive it until it falls apart. Or if you're smart, whether you're just a student or exchange student, you buy the really cheap car for about $7,000 with 60,000 miles, and guess what? Drive it, drive it, drive it. Once you're done, once you're out of college, the car is dead. You only paid like $150, $120 a month for it, and you can go out and buy yourself a fancy car with your new job. I'm only trying to help you, really. Now, here are a couple of exceptions. Number one, you can write off lease expense as a business expense. This is really smart. If you have a business, then leasing is a good idea, okay? Especially if you're not driving a lot of miles. Here's the trick though. You want to lease used cars, not brand new ones. There's plenty of places where you can lease a used car. If you lease a used car for, let's say 5, 7 years, well, by the time you're done paying off leased car, it's paid off. You could have paid $20,000 in taxes, or you got a free car. So yeah, leasing used cars for business is absolutely great idea. Do it. Another reason you could lease a car is if you're leasing a car brand new, right? and you're getting 30 to 35% off the sticker price, and that's how you know you're getting for invoice, because dealerships have over 30% of profit, sometimes as high as 50. So if you're getting 30-35% off a car price, yeah, this is a good car to lease, and then own it, and then sell it, because we always want to get some money for that car back, okay? Don't let the dealership make the profit. You make it. Be smart. I'm on your side. Don't tell anybody. All right, this is Dan with 60 Minute Car. I'm signing out, and I'll see you on the internet.